Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 103 of Generation GC, The Fish and the Wart, an unreleased and possibly non-existent song that may or may not be by Good Charlotte. You'll find out more in the episode. My guest today is Kate Verts, once again, and as always, I'm Molly Hudelson, and I'm the host as well as the producer, creator, and editor of this podcast. Last time, we talked about Cardiology, the title track from Cardiology. This is our last episode before a little bit of a break, and on our next when we come back, we'll be talking about a song from Youth Authority. Kate Verts is a returning guest for Generation GC. This is her third time on the show. She previously was here talking about Meet My Maker, and she also joined us for the Hold On double episode. Kate grew up in Denver and currently lives in North Carolina, where she works as a veterinary assistant and is now in school to become a licensed vet tech. Kate loves reading and writing fantasy, sci-fi, and historical fiction, and she also lists video games and some random YouTube channels. She's been listening to GC for 20 years, and while she's loving all these NFT projects and side projects the guys are currently doing, she is anxiously waiting for new music and a tour. And Kate, I'm with you. Well, anyways, this is our last podcast episode of 2022, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who is listening, whether you've listened to every episode of Generation GC or this is your first time checking out the show. I haven't been able to consistently release episodes on a schedule that I would have liked to for most of the year, and that sucks. But that being said, I really am so proud and so happy with the episodes that I have released, and I hope that you have loved them too. I'm working on getting everything ready for the next batch of episodes, and very excited about all those. My plan is to record those mostly in January, maybe a little in February, and then mid to late February, start releasing them. And I will be posting once everything is official and scheduled. With that, a few reminders before we go into episode 103. First, I am very much looking for guests for these new episodes that will be recorded in the new year. I love having guests from all around the world and from all different backgrounds on this show, and if English isn't your first language, that's totally okay. As long as you're comfortable holding a conversation with me in English, you're good to go. I've had a lot of guests that are not, native English speakers, and it's been so much fun just connecting with people from all over. And different backgrounds, by the way, I don't just mean location or ethnicity. I also want to make sure I have a varied gender and sexuality representation of my guests, and that I represent fans of different ages and fans with your own unique life experiences of any sort. So if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I want to come on Generation GC next year, reach out, get in touch. I would love to have you. Finally, Generation GC stickers are here. If you do want a sticker, all you got to do is head to anchor.fm/generationgcpod and click support. All that money goes right back into making the show the best that it can be. Helps me print and ship the stickers. It helps me get equipment that I need. It helps me with things like Dropbox storage that costs a little bit of money every month. So you're going to support the show on Anchor, and then you will reach out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at GenerationGCPod, or send me an email at generationgcpod@gmail.com with a screenshot showing your support as well as your mailing address, and I will send you stickers. Pretty easy, right? Well, thank you all for tuning in to episode 103 and for supporting Generation GC this year and every year before it and every year in the future. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. This episode is a great one. Let's get into it. Okay, so Kate and I are here for a very special episode today. We are talking about The Fish and the Wart, which is, it's a Good Charlotte song that may or may not exist. What does that mean? So if you look it up, there are lyrics for this song floating around online. Kate, I think you and I should take turns, maybe going line by line or something, reading them in a little bit.
Sounds good.
There doesn't seem to be a recording of this song anywhere. All the lyrics pages will say it's very, very rare. Not just rare, it's very rare. So it does not appear to have been included on any kind of CD, mixtape, demo, EP, album release that is known of. It might have been played live. If it has, the internet has no record of that happening. I also am not aware of the band mentioning this song at any point.
I've never heard them say anything about it.
Right. But, and I think we can like have a little discussion. I think this will be our question for the end as we wrap up is this song real? Like, did Good Charlotte write this song? And if so, is there a recording? It might have been on the internet, but is there a recording? So that's the question I guess we'll ponder as we talk about it. But one thing to think about is, yes, we have not seen them confirm that this song exists. We have not, seen or heard Good Charlotte mention the fish in the Wart.
But however, they've also never denied.
Exactly. It's kind of like how people say, well, we don't have any proof that aliens aren't real, so they must be real. Well, we have a very, very deep rabbit hole to go down. Okay, we really do. We really, really do. But first, I want to help our guests check in with you, get to know you a little bit. Super happy to have you back. This is your third time on the show. You were on for Meet My Maker. You were on the Hold On special episode. And now you are living in North Carolina. How is everything in North Carolina going?
It's going. I've actually been here for like almost 3.5 years now. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was a recent move. That's why I put it on here.
No, no. I recently changed jobs though.
Right.
I left. I was in retail management. I left that. Floated around for a couple months, and then got a job as a veterinary assistant, which has been something that I've wanted to do like forever. So now I'm working with animals all day long, as stressful and hectic as that is. But so everything's going pretty good.
That's amazing. I have a few friends that also work as vet assistants or vet techs. And I remember, I think the first time you came on this show, you talked about just how much you love animals. So who do you have at home right now besides Draco? I know you have like a little pack, right?
I do. I have
Draco is Kate's black Pomeranian that I'm obsessed with. I love him so much.
He is pretty great. I also have acquired a lovely little husky thing from a client at work. Not long after I started last year, she came in. She was diagnosed at like her first visit with a pretty significant heart murmur, which in puppies is generally like a death sentence, essentially.
Oh my God.
Acquired heart murmurs as they age is common. Puppies with heart murmurs is not common and not good. They could not afford a cardiac workup for her, and they didn't want to give her to anybody that wasn't working in vet med.
Right.
So I got her the cardiac workup. Turns out she has 2 rare heart defects that aren't the things that normally like are terminal for puppies. So I have my husky for several years, hopefully.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And then I have my cats, and we got my daughter a guinea pig for her birthday.
Oh my God.
I have a little zoo.
How old's your daughter? I got a guinea pig when I turned 5, and I think my brother also got a guinea pig I think it was 5 when he turned 5 that he got one.
We got it for her 10th
pretty
birthday.
Young. Yeah, 5 is pretty young.
Yeah. She actually, with her dad, at his house, has another guinea pig there. And then she has a bunch of reptiles and stuff. So she's she wants to grow up.
The whole family are going to have like a zoo of their own. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to have a zoo. I love that.
Yeah. She wants to grow up and be like Bindi Irwin. And I'm raising another little Steve Irwin fan. It's great.
I love that. Well, and you're in school right now to become a vet tech. So, I mean, it seems like a kind of a natural transition. But how is school going so far?
It's just starting. So it's going. It's just like the animal anatomy and physiology. Before we moved out here, I had gone to nursing school and started that. So I've done like the human anatomy and physiology and biology, and I've done that route. So now I'm relearning everything from the animal side of it. So we'll see how it goes.
Is it like, do you feel like it's helped you to have the nursing background and human anatomy?
Yeah, because humans and animals aren't really all that different. It's just the way that their bodies are laid out. So the general like physiological structures and stuff are all the same. The nervous system, cardiac system, all of that's the same.
Cool.
So
awesome. Well, I'm excited to continue hearing about your journey in that path. It sounds amazing. Everyone, make sure you like follow Kate's Instagram and Twitter, because you're gonna see very cute pictures of all of her animals. But I just want to check in with you real quick. I mean, I know you're really into reading, but you also mentioned video games and YouTube channels. So I just want to know real quick, like, what are your favorite video games lately, and what are your favorite YouTube channels you've been checking out recently?
I haven't done any like newer video games lately. There was a period of time back before we left Colorado that we were going and collecting all these so-called vintage video games. Cool. So like N64 games and Sega Genesis and all the old like Super NES games. So I've been dusting those off and getting back into them. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine has been my go-to lately.
Okay. Very cool.
And then YouTube, I fell down a rabbit hole. It was like, it just popped up in my like suggested videos. One of them is called Tokyo Lens.
Okay.
And he's a Canadian that now lives in Japan. And he does like these little, some of them can be kind of long, but he'll like go and explore these places. My favorite ones are like the tiny apartments in Tokyo that are like the size of a shoebox, and he'll go and he'll explore them. He gets residents in the buildings to come and like talk about how they use their space and everything.
Oh my God.
And then another one is called Tasting History, where he does like a podcast style thing. He'll pick a recipe from like the Middle Ages, or he did all of April was Titanic month. So it was all episodes.
Like things that were
cooked on the Titanic. And he'll cook it and then do like a deep dive into the history behind it and everything too.
That is super cool. I feel like I've seen some of those like Japanese like micro apartment tour videos.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, here's me, and I'm like, I happen to have lucked into a very spacious apartment, and I'm like, more, please. Where's my storage room? Where's my basement? Where's my guest bathroom? I love Taste of History. I wonder if it's the same guy, but there's someone I've seen on TikTok that does something, at least something similar. He did a whole bunch of ancient Roman recipes this summer.
It could be the same person or someone similar, definitely. I know he did like some of his earlier videos were ancient Roman recipes and like medieval recipes. But I'm not on TikTok, so that's one I haven't gotten onto yet. So I don't know if he's even on there.
Fair. Kate, let's get into the fish in the Wart. I mean, we've talked about this specifically, doing this episode together for a little while now. Like it's several months. We both get very excited about this song. I mean, I think I've shared, I can't remember if this was like a public tweet or if this was something I had DM'd you, but I hold true to this. I hold true to this. That if there ever is a recording of this song that is released, I will get a tattoo for this song specifically. And I hold true to that. I want to know, Kate, why did you want to talk about the fish in the Wart? Like, why did you get so excited about it?
Because it's just like, first of all, the name is just so random and so like different than anything else that they have. Like, obviously they have like Superman Can't Walk and stuff, which is still like an out there song name, but like the fish in the Wart is just, it sounds like a kid's like song or something.
Yeah.
And then so I found out about this song, like, well, this possible song probably around the time that I first heard of like Gravity Girl, so at least 15 years ago. So I've heard of rumors of it for, ever. But until like we started talking like on Twitter and stuff, I didn't know anybody else knew about it besides like random internet like rumors.
Yeah. Well, there really is not like very much on this song. I want to touch on like our interpretations in a minute. I agree with you. Children's song, that's a great way to put it. I think fable, I think a fable that's specifically like a story or a short fairy tale with a lesson. Like that's kind of the vibe I got as well, but I am wishing I was able to find more like fan pages talking about this song because like I remember seeing them from like 2002 or whatever, 2003, 2004, 2005.
Right.
And I just searched, I scoured, and I looked on like archive.org. I was not able to find some. I mean, I think a lot of these fan pages are non-existent, because they were even hosted on like what was it? Like wasn't there like an MSN groups or something?
Yeah, there's like MSN and then like Angel Fire.
Angel Fire.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. So some of these like were hosted by sites that maybe don't exist, or the person deleted the page. So it's like they might be indexed somewhere, but you have to know how to search something that was beyond what I found.
Right.
I did find the lyrics of this song translated into so many different languages. Spanish, I think Portuguese, French, what looks to be Russian, like, but Kate, before we get into like our interpretations, why don't we read the lyrics? There's not a whole lot here. I figure maybe why don't you start off and maybe we could go line by line. I think that would be nice.
Yes. Sorry, my phone is acting up. My computer stopped operating Zoom.
Oh no.
So now I'm doing everything off my phone. Okay. All right. So we'll start us off. Okay. The fish, a lonely creature.
With only one good feature.
Which was, yeah.
A small water on his face. Yeah.
And the fish in the sea couldn't find in themselves to deal with
the wart.
They were just fish. I mean fish.
Yeah. That was the chorus, and the chorus repeats twice.
Mm-hmm. And then, but aren't we all just lonely fish with warts on our faces?
And the chorus repeats 4 times, and it slowly fades. Which that's like those, the chorus repeats twice. The chorus repeats 4 times. It slowly fades. That to me sounds like there was a recording or a performance and someone wrote it down, unless someone was just really trying to fake us out,
right?
With that. Well, you mentioned like a children's song kind of vibe almost, but let's talk about our interpretation of these lyrics to this song, if we can call it that.
I don't know. I think definitely like the fable thing, or like a metaphor for, like when you don't really see the good in yourself, and you can kind of see like how it's one of those things, like when you focus more on like your own flaws and stuff, you don't actually see the good in you, and the things that other people see. So you just kind of like wallow in like self-misery and whatnot, and you don't want to fix anything because you don't think you're worthy of it because of like 1 or 2 flaws.
Yeah. Deep. Oh, it's, like a teenager that has a pimple, but nobody at school notices or gives a shit because they're all teenagers with pimples. Or if they don't have pimples, maybe they like
have braces, or they have like really awkward glasses, or they're, you know, they're really short, they haven't had a growth spurt yet, like they're all teenagers, they're all awkward. That's a similar to the vibe I got. The phrase or the song I wrote down was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like, Rudolph has this red nose, this little thing that makes him very different, and yeah, sometimes he gets a little made fun of and he feels pretty different, but at the end of the day, he saves the day. Like, everyone, yeah, you might have something that makes you different or makes you stand out. Other people might not like that. But at the end of the day, everyone has something that makes them different.
Right.
That's like that phrase, but aren't we all just lonely fish with warts on our faces? Like, I like that.
Yeah.
Normally at this point we'd talk about like the genre of the song, how it might place it, like instrumentation, arrangement, production, the areas that I honestly am not the biggest expert on, but sometimes my guests know a lot more than I do, and I think they have a lot of context. But as there's no known recording of the Fish in the Wart, there's not really anything to discuss in terms of like what is out there. But I don't know, what do you imagine this song might sound like if we assume that Good Charlotte did write this and that they recorded it or performed it at some point?
I kind of feel like it would have like a Click vibe, like because the Click isn't really like that serious of a song, and like it kind of has like the same vibe type meaning behind it. You know, and obviously this song, we have no internet proof that it was ever real aside from like the lyrics. I
wonder if this was like, I'm almost like wondering if this was like an outtake from when they were writing the Click. I don't know if you listen to that episode or if you know the backstory, but the Click, like they wrote the Click for undergrads, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm like, now that you're talking about it, I'm like, could that be where this originated from?
I mean, it's possible. It would definitely have to be from like that era or before.
Yeah, just because of when it started popping up on the internet. Yeah.
And otherwise we would have some kind of like recording proof that it exists.
Yeah.
But I definitely could see this being like one of the poppy, like kind of goofball songs from like their very early days.
Yeah, I can see that. I could also see some of the like Waldorf Worldwide, like rapping stuff, especially with the yeahs, and they were just fish. I mean, fish. I picture and when he says, and the fish in the sea couldn't find in themselves to deal with the wart, I think the wart is like maybe some gang vocals. I don't know. I mean, I think we got something here. In terms of like backstory of the song, yeah, I mean, there's nothing like official that we've found, but I kind of like this theory that like maybe it was like an outtake from when they were writing the Click, which was written for undergrads.
Yeah.
Maybe like the label, or not the label, but maybe I don't know if it was like the writer of undergrads or if it was the like director or the network, but maybe whoever like hired them to write the song heard this and was like, hey, will you write a song for our show? Have you watched Undergrads?
Back when it was out.
So I watched it, 2 years ago, like when I was doing the episode.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I won't be able to find it, but like it's on YouTube. And like it's great. But something I remember from it is like they're all those characters are weird. Like they all have something that makes them a little weird. But like they're all doing pretty well, they're all making moves, they're all like growing and maturing, and I don't know. Look, this could be totally off, but I could see it. Like, or if not, this was something they worked on in the writing for that. Maybe this was something that like was heard and made the show want to hire them. I don't know.
Or potentially this could be something like additional that was going to be in the show, because the show is goofball enough as it is.
Yes.
It's one of those like fake song things that because that would be my other theory, especially if like, because it just gives me the vibe, like the Click vibes. So it would just make sense that it would be like something that originally was supposed to be like in that show, or like something similar for it, and just never happened.
Yeah. When I was working on the episode for the Click, I reached out to, the creator of the show. Never heard back, but I was like, hey, like, want to come on my podcast? He would know.
Right.
I'm sure you remember, because they're, he's trying to get funding to get a movie made. The other thing that I could see, as we were talking about like a children's song, what I remember, so we all know that the band named themselves after a children's book called Good Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the story with that was like, one of their moms was like a preschool teacher or a school teacher and had this book, like, I guess was just sitting around, and they saw the name and thought it was cool. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they were writing a song for the preschoolers. I don't know. I mean, that feels like grasping at straws. But I like the undergrads era theory better. And like, do you remember any references to fish in that show?
It's literally been like 20 years since I've watched it, so no. But I mean, obviously that's not to say there wasn't any. I haven't watched it since it was on. So it's been a hot minute.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch, or just do some deep dive Googling. But if I do find anything, Kate, I'll hit you up and we'll hop back on to go deeper. Yeah, I mean, I really didn't find anything that mentioned this song besides like seeing the lyrics or fans posting that they were looking for the MP3. I mean, you talked about rumors. Like, I remember hearing, from people, oh, well, my friends, cousins, coworkers, sons, brothers, girlfriend heard a recording. Or this, my third cousin's ex-wife's daughter's cousin has the MP3. Sometimes has the original CD.
Right.
No one has themselves, I don't think, said that they heard it. And like, if you Google the Fish in the Wart, you'll find the lyrics on a bunch of sites. Like I said before, in all different languages. And at one point I was Googling fish plus wart, and there's a lot of articles about warts on fish, as well as fish pedicures. That's a thing. Like
yeah. I've seen that before. I would never do that, but I've seen it.
One, I don't think we should use animals for our beauty like that. Two, being an animal activist aside, ew, please get the fish away from my feet. Please.
I don't imagine, like, I'm so ticklish, like, Draco likes to sleep at the foot of my bed under my covers when I'm sleeping, and he's a Pomeranian. He's a giant ball of fluff. If he so much as like twitches an ear, I like almost kick him off the bed. I could not imagine having a pedicure like that.
No, it sounds awful. I remember like I went on vacation to Thailand. My brother was there several years ago, and like there was this like waterfalls, and the water, the like pond or lake or whatever, was full of like teeny tiny fish. And I was like, no
thanks.
Yeah, no thanks. I have a few possible origins of at least the phrase "the fish in the Wart." It's not direct, and again, I said this before we hopped on recording. I said this to Kate, but I'm not 100% on any of these. I want to skip around like a little bit. The first thing I want to touch on, I guess this is sort of relevant, is like just a couple common like just common sayings, I guess, common tropes or metaphors. And the first being like a fish out of water, that comes to mind, right? Like taking someone out of their element. Mm-hmm. Second one being warts and all, which, is usually used in the context of, someone loving you or appreciating you or accepting you or welcoming you, including all of your flaws, like including all the weird stuff about you. I don't know. Listen, Kate, listen. The undergrad's theory is strong, okay? Because I feel like even these sayings, that's like things that would fit with undergrads.
Right.
There was a lot of Googling, everyone. It was like 7 or 8 o'clock on Sunday night when I was working on these notes, to give some context. And I was just like determined. Like I've never been so determined to like find the answer. And I'm like going down the rabbit hole, Googling like every combination I can think of, like reading links on all these sketchy websites. And but I have two stories that come to mind. That I don't know. I don't know if they have anything to do with this song or with the phrase at all. The phrase they came up with. So the first is that there is a Japanese fairy tale called The Old Man with a Wart. It's about an old man who has a very large wart on the side of his face. And then the storm spirits take his wart. And then eventually he has one wart on each side of his face. The reason I didn't go much more into depth on this in my notes, because like I read this like 2 or 3 times and I couldn't. First of all, there's no mention of fish, right? But I was like, okay, maybe that's just maybe they put fish in. And I couldn't quite pull like a metaphor or lesson from this one,
right?
But maybe, I don't know.
I mean, the Japanese just as a whole, like their culture as a whole, there's fish in everything. Like the koi fish is.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Fish, and I mean, it is just grasping at straws and like a very like tenuous thread between this Japanese fairy tale and then like fish and how that would come about. But I mean, the Japanese definitely revere the fish, especially like the koi fish.
That's a good point. Yeah. Right. So even if it wasn't like in this story, I thought about that a little bit as I was rereading it. I couldn't quite find like what the sort of lesson was, but maybe I missed it. The other thing I want to talk about, which has a little more merit to me, it's also definitely not like direct. It's definitely not like obvious. So we are going to go back to the year 1938 with the novel The Sword in the Stone by T.H. White. This was the first in the collection, The Once and Future King. The story here centers around the young man Arthur, who eventually becomes King Arthur, who is nicknamed Wart. Wart takes lessons from Merlin, who kind of like transforms him into all these different animals to essentially teach him lessons on how to be a good king, but it's kind of like life lessons, right? So I did link a clip. I don't know if you got to watch that clip.
I actually didn't have to because this is one of my favorite Disney movies.
Okay. So you knew it. You knew it.
So I got very excited when I was going over your notes and was like, yes, Sword in the Stone. Oh my God.
Listeners, when I found this, I sent Kate a message and I was like, Kate, I have a theory. I have a theory on this song, and I was so excited because when I went into this, I truly expected to find absolutely nothing. And are we grasping at straws? Yes. But you know what? There are straws to grasp at.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the first animal that Merlin transforms Wart into is a fish. And essentially that's to teach him the power, or to teach him the danger of like absolute monarchy, tells him how to treat someone with less fortune, when he meets like a poor fish. He also meets the kingfish. There's no mention of like a fish with warts, but I guess like I connect this because I don't know, maybe they were taking some liberty and they were inspired by this story. This is a pretty well-known Disney movie and also a pretty well-known book, right? I found a children's brand called Wart and Fish. I'm sure that took its name from The Sword in the Stone, not, the Good Charlotte song. I don't know. What do you think? Like by name, I'm like, maybe, but as I dive into it, like thematically, I don't know. What do you think?
I like it just because, obviously, like I just said, Sword in the Stone is one of my favorite things. And side note, I'm actually working on a Sword in the Stone tattoo eventually. And then obviously, I love GC. So being able to even like grasp at straws and connect things makes me very happy.
Listen, if we find out that is the connection, then I think you might need to get like a Sword in the Stone and Fish in the Wart tattoo combined, Kate.
Yes. Well, I think I told you like a year at least ago, I'm going to have my best friend that's actually up in Jersey draw me a Fish in the Wart tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm eventually going to get that. So yes, I will combine the two if we ever get confirmation on this song.
I have like ideas. I don't have a design. I know I would want to be like very, very colorful. I keep debating if I would want it to have text, but I kind of like just like an image, very colorful. I don't know. There's so many things like come to mind. You know what, Kate? I talked about I was going to rewatch Undergrads. I'm not going to rewatch it right now, but as we're on, listeners, you're going to hear this real time. I'm going to just take a second to Google. Take like 2 minutes to Google. Let's see. Undergrads, Fish and Wart. Let's see what I find. Okay, Undergrads TV show.
The suspense is killing me.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Wait, hold on. Memorable quotes. Let's see. Okay, so we have 2 quotes that mention fish. None of them direct, but Gimpy was my favorite. He was like the weird nerdy guy. I love Gimpy so much. Is there something about your joystick, Private Rocco? As I was saying, your joystick must be harnessed as the instruments of digital devastation. You must master your joystick like a fisherman masters bait. So, I mean, it's a fish metaphor.
Yes.
Okay. Gimpy, again. I just lost 10 good men on the field of honor. Do you know how that feels? It feels like someone made you swallow a fishing hook, tied to the other end of a tractor trailer, and then dragged your guts from here to Las Vegas. Okay, nothing mentioning war. I don't know, maybe it's worth rewatching, but I'm just saying, with the context of these quotes, Gimpy is like they all have like some weirdness there. Gimpy is kind of like, I don't think he's necessarily the weirdest one, but he's the one that like thinks of himself as the weirdest.
Yeah.
And if he's making a couple fish metaphors, maybe the fish in the wart was written about him, and he is the. I don't know. I listen. For all we know, this song was not written by Good Charlotte, and someone on the internet like played a prank on all of us. If that's the case, congrats, you won. You've gotten two, women in their 30s to do a podcast about it on a Monday night in 2022.
And
so
please identify yourself, because I want to congratulate you.
Right. That's the thing. Like, as I was searching about this song, I was hoping to be able to figure out like when were the first mentions of it, right? I guess it's just like there wasn't enough out there for Google to like index all that. Like I tried and I just like, I don't know, just wasn't pulling it up. I think, I don't know, but when I was in middle school, like early 2000s, like was when I remember hearing about this song.
Right.
But it was like already kind of an urban legend almost at that point, Do you have any recollection of anything that could point to when this song like at least was first talked about?
No, because when I first heard about it was, I mean, like I said, it was like 15 years ago. So it was even like after you first heard about it. And it was like just this random, I don't even remember where I saw it, this random article, like online, obviously, because that's where everything comes from, talking about like Gravity Girl, like songs that they never played live anymore, which was the key phrase in that, anymore. There was like Gravity Girl, Superman Can't Walk, and then there was mention of Fish in the Wart, which nobody even then had confirmed that they had ever played it.
So was this like an article on like a reputable website, do you remember? Or was this kind of like fans talking about stuff they never played live?
It was one of the fans talking about things that they had played live. So I'm sure that came from like another article or another like just mention of it from somebody like.
Right. Man, if this was not written by Good Charlotte and this was written by a fan, I would love, and like you are the one that wrote this, I would love to hear about it. It's not quite like My Immortal. Kate, I don't know if you heard the episode, but we did an episode on My Immortal, the legendary, infamous Harry Potter fan fiction with the, mysterious identity of that author. And there was someone who came forward as the person as Tara, but then that person was proven to be a fake. And 15 years later, nobody knows who wrote My Immortal.
Yeah.
I don't listen, if the person who wrote My Immortal also wrote The Fish in the Wart, then you deserve money and fame and love and every single thing you want in life. Kate, I don't know. I guess we normally would talk about memories or stories about the song. Kind of hard with a song that may or may not be real.
Right.
I like to touch on, other Good Charlotte songs the track relates to. You mentioned The Click, which was a great pick. That, I guess Little Things or Festival Song too, or the anthem, but The Click, that's the one I get the biggest kind of connection, because it's about hey, I'm a weirdo, but it's okay, we're all weirdos, we're friends, we have each other.
Right.
I don't know, Kate. I don't know. I feel we both need to go back and rewatch Undergrads and
I have to
dissect
that.
Scene by scene.
I also think I'm going to jump on Discord. I'm a community leader on Billy's NFT project Discord.
Oh, okay.
So I think I'm gonna jump on that and see if I can get him to at least acknowledge that this thing is at least a rumor. Just like, hey, yeah, I've heard this rumor. I don't care if you're gonna like. I mean, I want confirmation one way or the other.
No, we both are like planning tattoos.
Yes.
Kate, if we both, if and when we both get that tattoo, is like, I hope, we get to meet in person. You come up to New Jersey or something, see your friend, and we get pictures with our matching Fish in the Wart tattoos.
Yes.
Just love that. Yeah. Well, I want to hear from the Billy NFT Discord. I'm very curious. I'm very, very curious.
I will let you know what I hear. I'm also going to see, I didn't think to do it before we did this. I've been dealing with some like family stuff. But I'm going to reach out to my fellow Discord family on there and see if they have heard anything, because there are quite a few diehard GC fans on there.
Yeah, good idea.
So some of them listen to this podcast. Some of them have been on this podcast. So I'm going to see if any of them have heard this song and have any insights, and I will let you know.
And if anyone has heard this song, or if anyone has any insight into that, will you point them my way? Give them, my Twitter, email, whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I was hoping to find some good fan comments about this song. I had trouble finding any. Like, I am remembering people, I think on like songmeetings.net, like as well as other fan sites, but fucking love songmeetings.net. We talk about it on every episode. People would kind of sometimes talk about what they thought the song meant, but mostly when it came to the Fish in the Wart, the discussion was like this endless debate over whether the song was real, or if there was a recording, and whether, Good Charlotte actually were the ones who wrote it. Sometimes you'd get people saying, oh, I've heard it, but like they never had proof,
Right.
So I don't know. So Kate, I think now is a good time to touch on like the ultimate question of this episode, which is this song real? But by that, I mean, was the Fish in the Wart written by Good Charlotte or any members of the band? Is there a recording out there? Or was it, some internet prank by the fan?
I think that like the rumor has been around long enough. I think it probably more than likely was at one point, like maybe even one of like their first, if not like the undergrads era, then one of like their first shows when they first started doing anything, before like they started actually writing other stuff. Obviously, like if you don't have the material outside of like cover songs to do, you're gonna write the most random shit in the world to try to like fill up time on stage and at least, get people to notice you. So, and that would have been mostly pre-YouTube, obviously pre-YouTube and stuff. I mean, there are recordings of like
having smartphones and being able to like record.
Right. Like obviously there's those sketchy, like super grainy recordings of like Gravity Girl and stuff out there.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's also other things like the Fish in the Wart that never made it. Maybe were only played a couple times.
Or were recorded to a cassette and never uploaded to the internet. I think about like they have been quoted as saying that Gravity Girl was the first song we wrote. I remember in the Veeps live stream that they did in April 2020, which I want more of that. I would like another one, please.
Yeah, I've been waiting for more of that.
Seriously. They showed like I think it was like in Benji's house, and he was showing all this like GC artifacts, and he showed like a set list from the first I think it was the first show they played. Gravity Girl was on there. Fish in the Wart was not. I mean, so yeah, no confirmation. I agree with you that, like, yeah, it's been around for so long. I mean, it's got to be going on 20 years that this rumor has been around. And, like, look, yes, they all have lives. They're all busy. But, like, I don't know. I feel like there's no way that they haven't heard the rumor, at least. And, look, maybe they just think it's funny that there's this, like, rumor about a song that they didn't exist and they don't even know where it came from. And maybe they just think it's funny. And
I mean, that's possible too. I was watching a live stream with Billy like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And somebody asked him what the funniest rumor that he had heard about himself was.
What was it?
And it was that his middle name is Dean, because it's not Dean.
It's not?
No, apparently his actual name is William George Martin III. Per him, on this live stream.
I believe that, but
I thought a half ago.
See, I thought you were going to say that the funniest rumor was that he was a vampire.
No.
But wait, it's not Dean. Like,
No.
I thought that was just fact.
Yeah, I did too, until he
How did that
he just he has no idea where this rumor started. He has, like, because he's never said anything about his middle name publicly. Like, he's never
Fair.
So he said he has no idea where it came from, no idea when it started, like why it came about. But his name is William George Martin III. It's not William Dean Martin, which is what everybody thought it was for like 20 years.
Shocking. Yeah, I'm shook. Man, I need to, like, get on his streams, and I just purely just so I can ask him about this song. But like I wouldn't want to, because I think he follows the podcast. I'm pretty sure they all do. But I don't know. It's like I wouldn't want to, like, just ask out of nowhere. It's like you got to, like, build up to it. You know what I mean? Like ask questions that get gradually more niche. But, like, I kind of think that it's like, I think, like, they pay attention to the internet, right?
They do.
I don't know. I kind of think that if it wasn't real, they would have said something by now. And they're kind of enjoying that it's this, like, urban legend. I don't know. That's my current stance. Like, it's real, and, you know, maybe it was, like, from kind of the undergrads era, maybe it was early era, like before they were signed. But maybe they thought it was, like, some kind of throwaway. It wasn't a big deal to them. Maybe it was, like, a demo, so that's why there's not recordings. That's why they never talked about it in interviews or anything.
Right.
I don't know. I just, like,
I did and one of
asked them about it.
I don't know. I've never heard anybody ask them about it. But I did mention to Billy in one of the live streams that they should do, like, a Veeps something with, like, the deep cuts, like Gravity Girl and like all the songs that nobody hears. And he pretty much laughed at me and was like, that there's no way. He goes, I can't, that just sounds like a nightmare to try to sell. And I was like, but you know how many people would love it? And he was like, yeah, that just doesn't sound like a good time to try to even market.
A nightmare to sell. I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, there would be, like, a handful of people that would go, right? Like,
right.
It probably, you and I, every single person who listens to this podcast, every single person who has been on this podcast, right? Like, there would be, like, I don't know how many people, but, like, we would all know each other and we would all be like, this is great. This is awesome. This is the best thing ever. Sure, I'll pay $500 for this. It would not have a very big audience though.
No, just do a Veeps stream even, like, because you would get probably more people that way anyway, and then finish it off with this mythical song that may or may not exist and confirm it one way or the other, because at that point it would exist. So
right. And like, even if they don't play it, if they at least give the story, you know, that's like the like absolute like end goal for me would be like, hear a recording or see them perform this song, right? But I would also be okay with, and we'll get the tattoo for, you know, confirmation of this song's existence and story of how it originated and why there's like literally nothing about it. Kate, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. I love this mythical song. Fun. So
yeah, you're welcome. How has the Fish in the Wart held up for you over time?
I mean, it's always just fun to like think about. Like,
yeah,
it always makes me giggle when like I start actually like thinking about it, like, because it's just so random, and there's such a sorry, I have dogs now fighting.
It's okay.
Such a huge like band to have such a random like mystery song. It's always a fun thing to like think about and talk about and theorize on. So
yeah, it's like the way I was kind of thinking about it as we were talking about Gravity Girl is like, level 1 of deep cuts would be like, you know, You're Gone, which we just recorded an episode on this weekend, you know, like a B-side from a single, or, you know, a deluxe album cut, something like that, like a You're Gone that got a release, but it wasn't like an album release.
Right.
Level 2 is like Gravity Girl, Superman Can't Walk. This is like level 3, I think, of the deep cuts. So if you're here, if you're listening to this, thank you and congratulations for joining us in our journey down the rabbit hole that we don't even know if it exists. Like, we don't even know what we're gonna find. Kate, I know I asked this when we first recorded, but what has Good Charlotte meant to you over the years, and how has that changed?
I don't think it's changed. They've always just been that band that's been there.
Yeah.
Like, anytime, happy, sad, mad, anything, like, they're just there. And it's nice. It's like that feeling. I made this reference rewatching Schitt's Creek for like the 7th time, that it just feels like coming home when you watch it. And like, that's kind of how it feels when like I'm listening to them. It's like coming home.
Yeah. I love that. That's great. That's such a nice way to put it. I think that's something like a lot of us have really appreciated, that feeling. It's like coming home and comfort and familiarity. Okay, do you have any last words about the Fish in the Wart, about Good Charlotte, or about yourself?
No, I just want acknowledgement one way or the other.
Please, God, please. Like, listen, like I'm single, right? But if I were to be like putting my wedding dress on, and then I heard that Good Charlotte was playing the next town over and they were going to play this song, I'm sorry, but like, I will go to the show in my wedding dress, and then I'll come back to the wedding. Like, oh, I'm about to have open heart surgery. Okay, that can wait. I will go hear this song. I mean, maybe I should get open heart surgery and not delay it. You can't usually delay that, but if I could delay it,
just as long. So I'm in the final stages of becoming a surrogate, which has been a long process. So as long as they don't decide to like drop this in like the next year, so I can travel. Like, I can't break my legal contract. Okay.
Right. Maybe there'll be a stream, or you know what? If there's a performance, Kate, I will FaceTime you. I will ensure you are there. I will ensure you are there. if not in physicality and spirit. Kate, this has been wonderful. I do a Generation GC and Friends Spotify playlist. Normally I would put the song that we talked about, but this song is not on Spotify. We also talked about The Click, but that song is also not on Spotify. But Kate, I would love to hear a recommendation from you, something you've been listening to lately that's not Good Charlotte, and something that like definitively exists and is on Spotify.
I don't know. I started listening to My Chemical Romance again because I saw them like last week. So
I'm seeing them next week.
That's so exciting. I wanted to see more than one show, but they're expensive. So here we are.
Yeah, I paid like $125 and I don't have great seats. Like they're high up and in the back.
Yeah, mine were like $300 for two. And I mean, they weren't bad, but still more than I've ever paid for seats like that. But I don't know. I don't know if the song is even on Spotify, but their goofy ass song from Yo Gabba Gabba. Every single snowflake is different, just like you, or something like that. It's like their Christmas song that they performed on.
Wait. Every single snowflake is different, just like you. That sounds like the Fish in the Wart. I'm sorry, but that sounds like exactly like the Fish in the Wart.
Yeah. It's this goofy ass children's song from Yo Gabba Gabba that they did like, again, another 15 years ago or some shit like that. But yes.
Yeah.
If that is on there.
Wasn't there, you know what I'll put if not, or maybe in addition is Vampire Money? Because I remember like Stephanie Meyer, I guess Twilight was like mostly, or Edward Cullen was sort of inspired by Gerard or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, and also the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing's about. I was just watching Breaking Dawn last night, but it's like Mormonism and My Chemical Romance. And she wanted My Chem to write a song for the movie. They turned that down, but they wrote a song for Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah.
Okay. If I can find that, I will put it on the playlist. If that's not on Spotify, I'll do Vampire Money. Feels like a good transition. Listen, Kate, I don't know. I mean, that's like a similar vibe. I don't just, Kate, like I'm so on this theory. Like I'm on such a hunt and like that's on my plate. Gotta do like my knee rehab. I gotta make dinner, but like how can I do anything before like rewatching all the Underground? Well, this is so wonderful. Kate, if people want to keep up with you, where can they find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter at BlackJade27 and Instagram at PhoenixJade27 with an F, not a PH.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show again. Please let me know if you have any interesting insight from anyone on Discord.
Absolutely will.
I will certainly let you know if I come across anything else. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. Seriously, if you made it through this episode, congrats and thank you. And we did it. We spent an hour talking about a song that may or may not exist. You spent an hour listening to a song that may or may not exist. So like this is, your badge of honor of congrats. Like you are on, level 3 of Good Charlotte rabbit holes. Congratulations. But seriously though, like thank you everyone for listening, for supporting the show in general. This kind of feels just like the peak in a way, just because it's the niche of the niche. And the niche is what makes us so much fun, doing this show so much fun. Thank you again. Last time we talked about cardiology from Cardiology. This is our last episode before a break, and on our next episode, we'll be talking about a song from Youth Authority. My name is Molly Hudelson, once again, and as always, I'm your host, as well as the producer, creator, and editor of this podcast. You can follow Generation GC at Generation GC Pod, POD, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow me, Molly, at M Hudelson, MHUDELSON, on Twitter and Instagram. Please make sure to follow or subscribe to the show wherever you listen. Please also rate and leave a review. Most importantly, tell a friend. Thank you for listening. Let's make the Generation GC fan bigger and better.